Hi, my name is Susie Porter, and I want to talk to you today about story and about why so many people make such a big deal out of your story, your memoir, your life story. And then other people say your story doesn't matter because, like Bowie sang in that song, things that happen in the past only happen in your mind. But the thing is, they do happen in your mind. And so, the purpose of rewriting your life or looking at your life story from once upon a time until now is that there were places there, I'm going to guess, where stuff happened or you experienced things and limiting beliefs, negative beliefs, painful experiences got downloaded. And if those things happened in your life before the age of like 7, 8, or 9, I've listened to a million things and read so many books. And the unconscious mind, the brain period when you're a baby and a toddler and a young child, your brain waves are slower. So you're in that stage of enchantment and wonder, right? That's why we believe in Santa Claus and fairies, because we just believe everything. So the reason why as an adult in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, or older, that it's very important to go back and rewrite your story is because you're just living, even though those things happened in the past, you're living from a program that got installed and downloaded in your past. Like, for instance, I'm a big fan of learning about psychology and self-help. And I remember reading a book about learned helplessness. And recently I reread the first memoir I ever wrote. I wrote it April 10th, 1969. I was 8. And as I read it over, I read it from a mature point of view, and it said, then a bad time came between my life. My mom and dad got a divorce, divorce. I didn't like that at all, and I don't think they did either. Now, here's the learned helplessness part. But life is life, and you can't fight it. Now, and as an adult, I think, and another thing we do when we rewrite our story is we reparent ourself, our own inner child. And it's not about staying childish and immature, although I'm kind of a fan of being childlike. It's about attending to the child within you that didn't get attended to. Like, obviously, my little girl self thought life is life and you can't fight it. Well, yeah, you can. There's a lot you can do. So, if we grew up with learned helplessness, feeling powerless or feeling, like a victim, or if you're a woman feeling less than because you're a woman, obviously, when we rewrite our story, we reclaim our power and we reparent and we heal ourselves and we remember who we really are, our true self. And so I wrote my first memoir when I was 8, and then I wrote a one-woman show in my 50s called Wake Up Little Susie. And when I wrote this show, and not everybody has to write a one-person show and perform it, but when I did it, because I had held so many secrets in for so many decades, secrets that were really shameful and dark and twisty and things you don't go around talking about at dinner parties or anywhere to anyone because they're too embarrassing. But when I did the show and I shared those things, I experienced a kind of liberation that, oh my God, I'm so good with words, but it's hard to put into words how freeing and liberating it is to spill your guts. I don't recommend spilling your guts to anybody anywhere. Like, this was a curated show. I had been writing for decades and I was ready to spill my guts, right? I wasn't spilling my guts from a place of anger and pain. I was spilling my guts from a place of peace and wholeness. And yet still it was sharing stories of childhood abuse. It's, I was a teacher in Los Angeles for 25 years of very young children. And I was kind of afraid, what if parents come and they know the teacher Susie, what happened to her as a kid. But I have to say that the fear of sharing your shame story, your vulnerability, is worse than the sharing of it. if the conditions are right, right? If you want to know who to share your story with, Brene Brown in one of her books, she has like 7 criteria. Like you don't share your story with someone who's going to say, "Oh, you poor thing," or "Oh, that's terrible," or "That didn't happen to me." You want to share your story in a way where you're safe. But I just want to say that the reason why I'm so fixated on writing as a way to heal, writing as a therapeutic process, is because I've experienced it in my own life. I've experienced it. I don't consider myself like a great writer like Steinbeck or Hemingway or one of those people, but I do consider myself someone who has figured out how to use writing. Somehow intuitively, I knew even as a kid that writing had a power because the thoughts in my little 8-year-old brain had to get on this page. And then once they got on the page, I felt better. And I just knew that somehow. Nobody taught me that. And then as I grew, I just kept writing and writing and writing. I mean, I guess it's not that unique. A lot of people have diaries and journals, and it's very popular. But what I emphasize in my work with people is to rewrite your life, your story. The thing is, if you don't rewrite your life, if you don't take charge of the narrative of your life, the negative voices in your head will, or other people will define you, culture, society will define you. So when you take your story and you write it and you examine it and you excavate it for the places where, like Peter Gabriel sings in that song, digging up the dirt to see where I got hurt. When you do that through writing, you can free yourself. You can free your voice. You can free your truth. And only you can do that because it's within you. And the way to get it out of within you is to put it on a page or on a screen, wherever you write. And when you do that and you share it and you read it and you think about it, then you can mother yourself. You can heal yourself. You can reclaim your voice. And I encourage you today, whether you're a writer or you hate to write, I would challenge, why do you hate to write? You don't have to write. Like my mother is 90 and I've been asking her to write her life story for about 30 years and she's just never going to do that. So I told her to just get on the voice app and just talk. You can talk your story. There's so many apps now where you can talk and it will write down your words. So you don't have to write if you just hate writing. You can speak it. It doesn't matter. What matters is to get your story out of your body, out of your mind. And when it gets out of you, that's when the alchemy happens. That's when you can look at it, shift the narrative, and heal the perspective, heal the limiting negative beliefs. And I'll just give you one really fun exercise before I want to make this video short. So I've done this twice in my life and it worked both times. It always works to some degree. I was in Hawaii. It was the most beautiful place. It was in this garden where they filmed Jurassic Park. And I was really depressed. Like I used to just get terrible depression and medication didn't help. Nothing helped. It was really, really awful. Okay. So I'm sitting there by myself in this garden and all I had was a notebook and a pen. And so I just got this idea. I just wrote a letter to depression itself. And I said, dear depression, what is up with you? Why are you here? And depression and I had a dialogue back and forth. And it told me, I said, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to kill me? And it said, no, I'm trying to help you slow down. I'm trying to help you rest. And we wrote like a 2 or 3 page dialogue. And I swear to God, by the end of writing that, my depression lifted. Now, I'm not saying that's going to work every time, all the time. But in this instance, it was that powerful. I just needed to get it out. And so I wrote to depression itself. You can write to anything. And another time, after my first year with my very first life coach, I had this epiphany that I had a very deep core belief that I was a victim. So no matter what I did, didn't matter, nothing mattered. I was never going to succeed because if you have a belief I'm a victim, you're never going to win. You cannot overcome. I don't care, with all due respect to Louise Hay and Eckhart Tolle and all those other people, you can't overcome the immutable limiting belief stuck in your mind. That will ruin your life. That's the blueprint, right? That's the program for your life. So when I realized I had this belief, I am a victim, I wrote, who would I be if I wasn't a victim? And that was a turning point in my life. I was like, if I'm not a victim, I can be successful. I can be happy. I can be healthy. And it just that little tweak, all it takes is a little tiny shift. Like if you're a musician, when you're tuning your instrument, it's just a little flat or a little sharp. Or if you're you don't need to make huge, big changes. A little shift in your perception, your attitude, your beliefs about yourself can change your whole life. My whole life is different since doing my show, since writing about and becoming aware of those beliefs. So I will leave you with that story. And I will say, if you want to get started, just go to susieporter.com. I have a free, newly designed Memoir Starter Kit, which I'm really proud of. It's really fun and easy way to just get your creativity going and to get your story onto the page. Certainly, if you want more help, you can get more help from me personally, but the Memoir Starter Kit will get you going. And see what that brings up for you. See where, just do it and let me know in the comments how that went for you, because I want to start engaging with you more. I've been doing these videos for a while and I want to hear more from you. Who are you? Who's watching this video? Tell me everything. Where do you live? All the stuff. I want to hear your story. I know my story. I've been writing it and telling it for quite a while now. So God bless you. Or if you're an atheist, universe bless you. And I wish you happy writing, happy storytelling. And yeah, I wish you happy rewriting. Writing is rewriting, some famous writer said, and it's the truth, right? You can always edit. You can always edit, and you can always change. Take care. Bye.